My name is Anna, and I'm 50 years old now. I never thought I'd be telling this story, but here it is, my truth, raw and real. 7 years ago, I believed I had everything I ever wanted. My husband Jack and I lived a quiet, peaceful life. We met on a bus, just a regular day that turned into something unforgettable. Some people say good girls don't talk to strangers, but I did. I smiled at him. He smiled back. And something about the way he looked at me felt safe. That was the beginning. Jack wasn't a man of grand gestures. He didn't show up with roses or plan surprise dates, but he noticed the little things. He remembered my favorite tea. He made sure my car had gas in the winter. He called to remind me to bring an umbrella when it rained. His love was steady and kind, and for me, that was everything. We got married after a year of dating. I used to be self-conscious about my weight, but Jack would always shake his head and say, "You're beautiful the way you are, Anna. Stop worrying." He made me feel like I was enough just as I was. Jack started out as a construction worker and eventually opened his own small company. He told me I didn't need to work, that I should focus on the home, the garden, and taking care of myself. I listened. I poured my heart into making our house warm and alive. I planted tomatoes and roses, cooked every meal from scratch, and raised our 2 boys with love and patience. On weekends, Jack would bring home fresh bread, and we'd sit outside sipping coffee. We built a small house outside the city, a dream home surrounded by silence and trees. It wasn't a fairy tale, but it was our life, and it was good. Then, one day, everything changed. It was a Friday. Our older son called to say he'd be bringing our granddaughter, Emma, over for the weekend. I was thrilled. I adored that little girl. When I told Jack, expecting him to be just as excited, he barely reacted. "I'll be working this weekend," he said, not meeting my eyes. "Can you come home in the evenings? At least, I might stay at my dad's house," he mumbled. That wasn't like him. Something about the way he said it made my stomach twist. He'd been distant lately, distracted, colder than usual. But I'd brushed it off, thinking it was stress from work. The next morning, I drove to his office without telling him. I don't know what I was expecting, maybe just reassurance. But when I arrived, the security guard told me Jack hadn't shown up all day. Then I heard the guard's wife whisper to another woman, "That's his wife. Poor thing. She has no idea." I froze. My heart pounded. My face went numb. That night, I waited for him. When he walked through the door, I asked him calmly, "Do you have someone else?" He looked at me, no guilt, no hesitation, and said, "Yes." The world seemed to spin. "Are you leaving me? Or do you want me to leave?" "I'll leave," he replied without emotion. He packed his bag. No drama, no yelling, just quiet betrayal. Then he walked out. 22 years together, And that was the end, like a door slamming shut on everything we had built. The days that followed were unbearable. I couldn't eat, couldn't sleep. I cried until there were no more tears. I stopped brushing my hair, stopped talking to friends. The house felt cold, empty, like a shell of what it once was. I kept hearing his voice in my head, kept wondering what I had done wrong. Our sons tried to comfort me, but they were hurting, too. I told them, he's still your father. Be respectful. Even though every part of me was breaking, I spent my days in silence. I felt invisible. Then one day, my elderly neighbor Clara knocked on my door. She looked me over and said, "Anna, you look like someone who forgot how to live." I didn't respond, but she gently took my hand and said, "Come with me." She brought me to an animal shelter she volunteered at. The place was filled with abandoned dogs and cats, injured birds, scared creatures who had known pain and loss. Yet they still wagged their tails, still purred, still sought love. That afternoon, I held a trembling puppy in my arms. Something inside me shifted. If they could keep going, maybe I could too. I started volunteering every day. I fundraised, cleaned cages, played with the animals, and talked to strangers who became friends. The shelter gave me purpose. It didn't erase the pain, but it gave it a place to go slowly. I started to feel human again. Years passed. My hair turned more silver. My hands became stronger. My heart healed not completely, but enough to smile again. Then, on Women's Day, the doorbell rang. It was Jack. I hadn't seen him in 7 years. He looked different, thinner, tired. His eyes held sorrow. "Anna," he said softly, "can I stay here for a while?" I was speechless. "This is your house, too," I said cautiously. He stepped inside and sat at the kitchen table, the same table where he once told me he loved me, the same place where he said goodbye. "I'm sorry," he said. "I was wrong. Please forgive me." I said nothing. Later, I learned his new wife had left him. The child he thought was his turned out not to be. Everything he had traded me for had fallen apart. He asked to stay in the guest room. He didn't push, didn't plead. He just helped fix the broken fence, cleaned out the garage, made coffee in the mornings. Quiet gestures, just like the man I used to know. When our sons found out, they were furious. "Mom, you don't owe him anything." "I know," I told them, "but I need to see this through." One day, our granddaughter Emma came over. When she saw Jack, she ran to him. "Grandpa, I missed you." Jack knelt down, tears in his eyes. "I missed you too, baby girl." She looked up at me and said, "Can we all go to the park together?" I didn't want to, but something in her innocence softened me. At the park, Emma played, while Jack and I sat on a bench in silence. "Thank you for letting me be here," he said. "I'm not sure what this is yet, Jack," I replied, "but I'm not angry anymore. Just tired. I'll wait, he said, as long as it takes. Forgiveness doesn't happen in a day. It's a process, a choice you make again and again. Jack began to earn my trust back, little by little. He didn't ask for love just for a second chance. And maybe, just maybe, we could find a new beginning. Life isn't perfect. The past is still there, but so is hope. And sometimes that's enough. If you were in my shoes, what would you have done? Would you forgive? Would you open the door again? Leave your thoughts in the comments. And if this story touched your heart, please give it a like. Share it with someone who needs it. And don't forget to subscribe for more real-life English stories.